Tom Kozlowski here with you on 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. Also joined by Andrew Williams, and joining us on the phone lines, it's UFC 192, Cormier versus Gustafsson, Saturday, October 3rd, live from the Toyota Center. Main card airs on pay-per-view at 10 p.m. Eastern. Tickets still available at HoustonToyotaCenter.com. Johny Hendricks joins us.
Johnny, you've been on the record in your past about your weight cutting and how it affected you during that Lawler fight. How's it going so far right now? We're 4 days out. How's the cutting been?
It's doing pretty good. Today and tomorrow are really important. Hopefully I did everything right that I need to, which I think I have. But right now, I've been losing 5, 6, 7 pounds of practice, and that's really good. So realistically, today is a very important day, and then also tomorrow is an even more important day, and tomorrow is whenever you'll see, did I do the right things, or do I need to clean it up a little bit more? Every time it's a learning process, and that's sort of what intrigues me to do it myself, is that each time it's going to be different.
And Johnny, you have a little bit of history with your opponent coming up on Saturday. Way back in the Big 12 wrestling days, you beat him in the Big 12 championship back in 2005 when you were wrestling for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. What do you remember about that match?
You know what? People have been asking me that ever since this fight. I don't really remember much of that match. I do, once I saw it, things started coming back, but for the most part, I was just staying active. I sort of really started separating myself during that time, and I ended up winning the national title that year. And I think it's because, everything started clicking, the shape and all that kind of stuff. And, I knew that he was a tough opponent. I knew that he was explosive. And when I go back and rewatch it, he was playing a little bit more defensive on me, not really trying to be crazy active. And so that's really all that I do remember. For the most part, I totally forgot. I knew that wrestling, but I forgot how the match went.
We already know you're a better NCAA wrestler than Woodley. Do you consider yourself a better mixed martial arts wrestler inside the octagon, better than him as well?
I'd like to say yes. I don't want to give up anything. And I'm pretty sure he's going to say the same thing. And that's sort of what it is, that you got to believe, like whenever you're fighting somebody, having that confidence, not arrogance, but confidence that you can beat him anywhere the fight goes. And that's what I do believe. No matter where the fight goes, I believe I can beat him anywhere. So for me, I don't want to give up anything to him.
UFC 192 this weekend, Cormier versus Gustafsson, live from the Toyota Center. Saturday, October 3rd, main card airs live at 10 p.m. And this guy will be taking on Tyron Woodley in the welterweight division. Johny Hendricks joining us on the phone lines.
Johnny, there's no other way to put it, but the judges in the past have not been kind to you. Does this put any added pressure to finish him during the fight when you get into the octagon?
I can't go in there with that attitude. Okay? Don't get me wrong, I would love to finish Tyron Woodley. Okay? You better believe that I'm going to try. But he is in the top 5, and whenever you get there, it's hard to finish fights. They all know how to take punches, and they all know how to throw punches. They all know how to avoid certain attacks, right? I know that. But what I know I need to do is if I can't finish them, what can help me separate myself from them? To really show that I am the better fighter. And that's really what I've been focusing on. I can't give too much away, but that's really what I've been focusing on, is really making sure that if I do stuff, that the refs will know that I'm being the aggressor or the winner of that round.
In your last couple of fights, not giving too much away, like you said, because I know there's a formula for everything. You don't want to give it away. Your last couple of fights, you stood toe-to-toe with your opponents, striking with them. Are you going to go back to more of a wrestling style at least?
No, I'm not going back to more of a wrestling style, but I do want them to fear my wrestling again. Whenever I am fighting, and whenever I first got into the UFC, people used to fear my wrestling, and that's where the knockouts came from. right? So now I have to sit there and say, okay, people are scared of my hands more than they are my wrestling. So I got to do something to get them to think about it. I'm not going to go total wrestling on them, but if I do a couple of things, the way that we've been working, if I can do a couple of things, it's really going to help my striking out, and that's really what it's about is being a true mixed martial artist. Just not relying on one aspect, because I've relied on one aspect so much that 2 out of my last 4 fights, it hasn't helped me. Even though you outstrike somebody on the cards, it hasn't helped me. So I really need to make sure that I do things to help me get my hand raised and to sort of start separating myself from the division.
I know your focus is on Woodley this Saturday, but have you had any discussions with Dana White or anyone else that if you get by Woodley, you're going to have a chance to get for that welterweight title against Robbie Lawler?
I have not had any talks with Dana White or anybody yet. Right now, I know it's everybody's answer, but right now, I do think of the belt. But at this point in my time, it's all about Woodley. I have to make sure that I go out there, I do good, I get my hand raised, because if I don't, it doesn't matter what I say about the belt. I'm going to have to do 2 more fights to get back to it. That's really where my head's at, is that I want to make sure that I give him all my focus and do what I need to do, get my hand raised, then after the fight, start campaigning for that next title shot.
And just out of curiosity, it was one of the best fights of the year, Lawler versus McDonald. How closely did you watch that fight? Was there a part of you that was a bit bitter, thinking, boy, if I'm in the octagon, I would have done this and that? Or did you watch the fight closely?
Yeah, I did watch the fight closely, really closely, because I thought that's who I was going to be fighting next, whoever won the fight. And there were some things that they both did that I was like, okay, cool. I saw some new stuff from Robbie, but, with that being said, it was also an orthodox. So I was watching Roy McDonald sort of see what he was doing with a southpaw, and with Robbie, you really can't do that because it's a different style. A right-hander, whenever you're fighting a right-hander to a left-hander, when you're both southpaws, it throws some kinks in there, right? So what he was doing with Roy, I would see if he was doing any more new combinations, this or that. But for the most part, I was just watching it to see what the final outcome would be.
And we'll get you out of here on this, Johnny. Tell the fans right here in Albany, New York, the capital region, why they need to make sure to tune in to UFC 192 this Saturday.
The reason why they need to tune in is because, for one, it's going to be an awesome fight card. 2, our fight is going to be fireworks. You got 2 guys that have heavy hands. We have wrestling. So you never know what's going to happen. And also in my fights, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know, could it be one punch? Could it go all 3 rounds? You just do not know.
UFC 192 this Saturday, live from Houston, Texas. Main card airs on pay-per-view at 10 p.m. Eastern. Johny Hendricks. Johnny, best of luck this weekend, and hopefully you'll be a champion again very soon. Thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning.
Hey, thank you for having me, and you have a great day.